Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to the nightmare that is this this puzzle. Welcome back to Last Call BBS. I am really unhappy with this solution, but it does work and it seems pretty fast. I haven't actually run it all the way through yet, but let me just explain how I got here. Okay, first things first. If you are trying to do any kind of routing logic at all, you run out of rack space. The stuff that needs to happen here for the orders is just too damn complicated. So what I did was I just did all the routing in physical routing space, and then there's a sequencer that runs each horizontal line effectively. There are 4 sequencers on the table, but that's because effectively this one on the far right side of the top row and the one on the bottom row are the same sequencer. No, wait, sorry. Middle top and the one on the bottom are the same sequencer. You can see one of the instructions in the middle top is just start bottom, because that sequencer needs 6 commands and you can't really, like, that's just the way it is. They have to be fired in sequence. They're different. Okay. Let's just walk it through. So orders 1 and 2, which just get coffee, I just send them through the same line through the middle here. It's very straightforward. You know, the thing grinds once both of the, I mean, obviously they're grinding at the same time. Once they're both set, it's just extract, boot, then an instruction that is extract only if this is the Doppio, and we're using a scanner for that logic. I hate this scanner. I hate that I spent $20,000 on this scanner and I'm using it twice and we still have to run sequencers for everything. But like, it was less rack space than the complicated thing where what I could have done, I suppose, on start is, oh, actually, you know what? I'm only using the start multiplexer or multimixer once right now. I wonder if that would be better. Because what we could do on start is we have to replace this thing with 2 simple counters. Run on start, increment those counters by 1 each, and then as part of the as part of the instruction set. Oh man, maybe that's better. Well, okay, so it's a counter to indicate whether or not to dispense the second point of coffee grounds here. That's actually 2 spaces by itself because we need a multi-mixer because the Doppio and espresso instructions are already running somewhere. So we need the Doppio instruction to run alone on the counter. So then we have no rack space left. We have the other counter, which only runs in case of the cappuccino machine, or in case of cappuccino. And yeah, right now cappuccino's not okay. So to replace this with a much cheaper set of multi-mixers would require, we would take this out, but it would take 4 additional slots. As things are right now though, before we actually run this machine, I'm realizing we can just be rid of that. Start can just dispense the cup and there we go. Saved $1,000. It's just that easy. Okay. So obviously, you know, dispense, eject, dispense only if this is that particular order. So that's the D command, and then C just runs the eject on both of them simultaneously because why not? If you try to run an eject on each of them separately, you're going to end up with 5 commands, and there's no benefit to doing it that way. So, bam, easy. That's like nothing. Order 2 is the same deal, except this time the check comes back true in the B grinder. Obviously, we have a dead cycle in the middle of that, but it doesn't matter. It runs in the same amount of time as everything else. Okay, so milk. I'm running the milk machine directly from the sense command here so that we don't have to use space in the sequencer from it. We just only let it sit on here for the right amount of time, and we run the eject command out of the sequencer. There's no reason to do them both when they effectively both have the same output, right? You can just use the eject command as a timer. Then we Okay, this is do one steam command if this is a cappuccino, or do nothing otherwise. And then also simultaneously we start the next sequencer. The next sequencer just runs a steam command. So that's the one steam that does occur here, and then extracts the coffee and then ejects. And on the next thing, that first check comes back positive. So we get the initial steam, then the secondary steam, then right, easy. And then this one's pretty straightforward, using the same logic to dispense the water, just as long as it's on there, dispense water. And I think I timed this out so they're all the same. Yeah, all of those, the reason they're arranged the way they are is because the water one is like 3 cycles faster than the milk one. So they actually, all 5 of the cups run in the same 13 cycles. Somebody got it down to 12. Not very many people, but we can see here that somebody got it down to 12. My machine is unbelievably expensive. It's one of those expensive machines anybody's ever run. And you can see from how tall this bar is that a lot of people managed it in 13 cycles with cheaper machines than this, but that's fine. Just like all money, it's imaginary. I'm not worried about it. Hungry Ghost says, 3 stars, hot cups, bean water. I guess, dude. Crystal Lyman says 4 stars. We came here and got our coffees and pretended to be employees of companies looking to network and synergize. That was pretty amusing. Yeah, everything's fun if you only have to take a vacation in it once in a while, you know? Shanagon72 says 2 stars. People in ancient times needed coffee because it distracted them from the misery of their lives. So it feels really out of place today. Implication today when people are generally happy. Remember when we thought, gosh, those of you who are old enough to have been alive and like conscious of this kind of thing during the 90s, remember when we thought the future was going to be a better place than the present? Kind of hard to imagine. Anyway, back to the food court. Welcome to Mildred's Nook. Apparently this episode is going to be rated M. The descriptions found of the so-called full breakfast suggest a meal so calorific it shocks our modern sensibilities. And to think this was only one of several meals eaten throughout the day. How did the ancients have time for anything other than eating? Well, you have to devote a lot of people to the food process. Okay, this is a nightmare. Oh, okay, but there's very little variance in it. So cook the eggs soft or hard. That's the only variance. And then it's just dispense everything else. Okay, but everything else gets cooked. So that is complicating. But what if everything else gets its own fucking cook thing? Do I have to... I'm assuming I can stack them in any order. I sure hope so. I suspect we're going to be able to just run this straight down. So on start, we can do a little, we can do a timer thing here, right? It's very easy to just do a... How many objects are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do this the kind of fancy way here. We'll see if we actually end up needing the rack space. We might. But on stack... here. On stack, run to this. Also decrement. And then this is 0 enabled and fires the eject command. This causes the eject command to be fired on the final stack rather than waiting for the counter to reach 0 and then firing the eject command on the next cycle, which is what happens if you wire the 0 right to eject. So we're saving a cycle here, in theory. We'll see, see how that works. So yeah, I kind of want to just, does it make sense to stagger things? I kind of want to just put like a ton of a ton of grills on the table here. Okay, I guess... Hold on. We do have one thing that dispenses 3 different food items, and they do all have to get cooked. Ooh. Also, that's complicating because the bacon is the longest cook, actually. So... this definitely has to be the bottom one. I mean, like, we can absolutely do this, right? The question is whether this is actually faster. So, I'll tell you what. Part of what I want to do here, I just kind of want to run a sequencer for the grill ejections. And I'm wondering if that's going to turn out to be the most efficient way of handling this. So you also just get fired. Like, what if I have a couple of sequences running? Let's say... oh, right. So that means... sorry, we got to decrement this because one of the items isn't stacked. It's just dropped on the tray in a way that's actually super gross. I've never really been a baked beans person, so... anyway. So the only thing that changes is the cook time on the egg, yes? Yeah. So... I guess what I want is like a... we want a larger counter. Soft goes here. Hard goes there. Sense -1. The eggs are on grill B. And then eject on 0, yeah? Okay, so... we're gonna run another multi-mixer down here. Because we're gonna need another multi-mixer. We want to emit so many different objects immediately, right? Oh, this is... okay, sorry. I was misunderstanding things here. We have 2 different containers that are emitting multiple things, so that will have slightly more complicated logic, and that's fine. So we'll emit one thing from each. The beans don't get run by this. The beans don't get emitted to cook. The beans just run from the thing. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we're starting these 2 sequencers. One of them is just for controlling grill outputs. Although now that we have one of the grills wired up already, I wonder if we do need 2 sequencers, because it could just be one to just fire eject commands on all the grills and the other one to fire the beans command one time. A single beans command. Let's see. The thing is, the eject commands on the grills, we want them to be accompanied by putting more food out, right? So maybe that's the thing that we need a second sequencer for, just because we have to run a total of 7 commands. Yeah, okay. All right. So, we just time it out, right? Okay, so we're gonna do eject grill D. So D, B, and A are going to eject the grills that we want, and then C is for call the beans. C is cycle 4. Yes. Okay. Okay, so C is cycle 4. We don't ever need to worry about the bread again, so bread's solid. The egg is also already under control. What's coming out of B is first a tomato, which cooks for 2 cycles. So we get an eject command there. And then on this one, we just spit out fungus, I guess? That could be A. It's weird that it's called fungus, but you know. Then 2 cycles later, we're going to want to... black pudding. Okay. Right, and we're going to eject from this thing every 2 cycles? Is that going to work? No. It has to sit 2 cycles, then it has to process the eject command afterward, which means we're going to get collisions because I have to space these out a little bit more. That's right. So like in some places, like with the with dispensers, if you run the dispenser and the eject command for the space that it's on at the same time, the dispense happens and then the eject happens, and they can both run like that. With the grills, a grill does not happen on the cycle that an eject happens. Okay, cool. All right, and then... so A has to eject at this time, and that is cycle 5. So on cycle 5, we are also doing this. And does the banger? Oh, the banger's already food. We don't actually. Do we not actually do anything to the? I mean, it doesn't have a listing here, but I assume it's supposed to be cooked. It's a sausage. It's got to be supposed to be cooked. Yeah, okay, it is 4. That's kind of what I figured, but... so that is grill A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And that's it? In theory? Oh, did I did count something wrong. But I think this machine just works now. This is like a weirdly simple one for how late in the game it is. I guess the question is, could we do it while spending like less money, maybe? Okay, that's this is the fastest you could do that, it seems like. And I mean, yeah, that makes sense, right? Because we're pushing things onto the belt about as fast as we can be. That was a weirdly straightforward puzzle, though. Get me out of here gives it 4 stars. Imagine if you took defatted soy protein in different hardness levels and molded it into shapes and served it all on a plate together. Pretty good. Is that all you have to imagine? Defatted... okay. The year 2000. I love your visor. 5 stars. An unexpected delight. Hungry Ghost gives it 3 stars. Why'd they need to eat all that? Listen, Hungry Ghost. First of all, this is the first thing you haven't loved unreservedly. We didn't need to eat like that in like a physical sense. It's really an emotional kind of, I need something to deaden the feeling of dread. This is how I do it. Can we? So nobody ever got it faster than that, which means I assume that I can't. But I am sort of wondering. So there is a dead space here, right? But no, not really, because the tomato ends up right behind it. So yeah, this is actually the minimum, as long as something is getting stacked every single cycle. So there is a dead cycle in there, but I doubt we could rearrange this such that that would get solved. The only thing we could do is, right, and this doesn't require any logic changes, we could just rewire this. Ah, no, you run into an immediate problem with that. So if we're just playing around here, but what if we ran all of the eject commands I mean, no, you're buying your cycle back, right? Let's just put it back like it was and leave it. Okay. That's fine. It's a very expensive solution. If you were trying to optimize everything, I guess this is maybe a more challenging puzzle, but that was good for me. Bellies. Many claim to understand 20th century fast food culture, but only we have studied it carefully and meticulously enough to present a definitive recreation. Everything from the cheesed burger to the monolithic imposing French fry is represented here. I just had a thought. Hold on. So we're running these sequencers, right? But there are different cook times, but there's only one grill that has items with different cook times. So instead of running sequencers, this sequencer could be made a sequence of counters instead, right? We could use the D command here to spit out the beans. And then each of these could just be, you know, sense eject counters. That's not actually going to save us money though, because we're talking about implementing 3 basic counters for $3,000 when the sequencer is just $5,000. Yeah, that's not actually better. Never mind. Sequencers are really good. Okay. The cheesed burger, the monolithic imposing Frenched fry. I am sure neither as monolithic nor as imposing as that tater tot that one time. All right, instructions. That is, I will say this, that is a monolithic French fry. Okay, so they get 2 choices of amount of cheese on the burger, 2 choices of drink, 2 choices of side, and we just have to be ready for any combination of those things. Drink needs to be dispensed twice. You have to stack the thing into the cup. You have to stack the cheese onto the burger, and then all of it goes on the tray. So you're probably going to need 2 stackers, it would seem like. Well, I guess, I wonder. Like, let's experiment. Let's see if we can experiment a little bit. So I need a stacker. Like if I put the cup onto the tray and then I get the fry afterward, does that work? Is that good? Okay, potatoes is in the freezer. Makes sense. We're gonna run ourselves a quick little sequencer here. Okay, so on start this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on cycle 4, we can dispense a cup. It's the same cup? Yeah, it's the same cup. These things don't look like they're the same height, but it's because this is sitting on the middle of the tray and this is sitting on the top edge of the tray. So yeah, it's just a cup. Also, how long does fry cook? Fry is 4. Okay. So actually, we can dispense the fry really early. Potate. And then we're gonna need an eject command from the fryer after 4 cycles have run. Okay. Wait, why is there another fry? Oh, because I, the problem isn't the place where I had that command, or the problem isn't the row in which I had the command, it was the column. Okay, no, you do not know what to do with that. I actually am a little curious though. What if I dispensed 2 cups? Because it seems to me, I'm wondering if the problem is that the cup is in the wrong spot. Nope, it stacked those cups inside each other. Okay, so that's good though. That's conclusive evidence that we do have to actually have at least 2 stackers. It is theoretically the case that we could get the cup plus the fry to stack and the burger plus the cheese to stack in the same one, depending on how we route things. And then all of it routes to another stacker that has the tray. So let's figure this out. We're gonna need to slice the burger bun. We are familiar with this process. And it probably does run approximately like this. So my immediate inclination is to do this basically the way we did it before, where we have the low part of the top half of the bun. Let me just make sure that this is running the way I want it to be running. Yes, okay, the bottom of the bun comes out first. And the top part of the bun can just be held here until it is time for it to do stuff. And in fact, I think this is probably all that's going on this side. So why don't we move the entire assembly this way a little bit so we have more room to do the complicated stacker maneuvers. You're going to be over here somewhere. I don't really know what to do with you yet. I guess I'm gonna leave it right here for the moment because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But the cups have to be on the same side that the stacker, the preliminary stacker, is on, and that means that the drink stuff also has to end up over there. Okay. Does it say the meat and the burger both fry for 4 cycles? The onion ring is not shown on here, but I'm guessing it probably is the same. Let's find out. Yes, okay, cool. So you're always going to have everything that comes out of the freezer goes into the fryer, fries for 4 cycles. That's easy enough to rig up. Then we need, so it's going to be like stuff's coming out vertically, right? And there's going to be a stacker on the line. Let's say like, I don't even know, somewhere. There's going to be a stacker on the line somewhere. This stacker is definitely just going to fire eject immediately. And it's like you're dispensing cup into a place where it can get soda on it. Can I have the soda? No, the thing will not put down on the stacker. Okay. It has to be in a place where the freezer can, the stuff coming out of the freezer can potentially get like routed onto it. And you do, it's something like this. Except one of these is a sorter because we have to hold the drink cup for 2 cycles if it is a drink cup. But actually we don't want it to run through the we don't want it to run through the stacker if it is a drink cup. So what we do instead is something like the shoot. So if it's a drink cup, it just gets bounced this way. Otherwise, it goes through the sorter. Yeah, right? Wait, where does the cheese come from? Oh no. Fuck. The cheese comes from the thing that emits the buns. That's terrible news. I mean, I guess it's better that than it coming from the freezer, right? Because then we'd have to potentially route around the fryer. So that means I have to do a different thing over here. I probably end up wanting, ah, shit. This doesn't flip, does it? No. Okay, well, we probably want the belt running all the way to one side then. because we're going to have to do a lot of weird setup. And unfortunately, if you want the belt running all the way to one side, it has to be all the way to this side because this monitor can't be moved. What an incredibly annoying situation. Okay, yeah, we're just getting that out of the way. So this thing goes here. Okay. Just drink or whatever. Sure. Okay, how do we do this part? So we want to... This is not right. I have to hold some of the products that come out of the slicer. It's okay for the thing that comes out one side of the slicer to just go directly to the tray. Okay, yes, that's correct. But we want to hold the top bun. And then the top bun can, you know, get routed over here and that's fine. The problem is that the cheese that comes out... So this has to be a sorter too. If the thing that comes out is cheese, it gets sent that way. This one might be a router instead of a sorter. Yeah, like basically anytime you don't need to be able to control the timing of an object leaving, you should use a router instead. So, okay, the router comes out here. We will never want to connect to that. We'll always want to go through here. It is a little unfortunate. I could probably avoid this, actually. Like, if we... Yeah, because I don't actually want it to hit that thing. I want it to go like this. Okay, so the cheese gets sent out and ends up there. If there is meat to... Yeah. Okay. This has to run to there. We were already going to be running a path like that anyway, so that's fine. Obviously, we need one of those. Okay, I think that's functional routing, right? Oh, this is stuff that needs to be stacked. Well, everything that comes... Hold on, everything that comes out of here needs to be stacked. It's just a matter of how the stacking goes. And that being the case, we can rewire this a little bit. Just eliminate some travel delays. Okay. So, yeah, I think that is functional routing. That's approximately what we want this thing to look like. I don't know if this is going to be the fastest routing, and I do sort of wonder, looking at it, if it might be good to rotate this whole thing 90 degrees clockwise. Because the places where stuff is emitting is like right here, which we could match to those two outputs. That might be a really good idea. Okay, you know what? I realized I have to take care of something very quickly. So I'm going to drop a cut in here. I'm going to run off, take care of the thing in the other room that I should have remembered I was going to have to do. And also rotate this whole thing so I don't have to do it on camera. And I'll just see you in a second in a whole new situation. Okay, apologies. I think I've got this rebuilt correctly. And I realized something. Just like looking at this and trying to like piece through the logic as I was building it. We always have to emit burger plus potato item. We could run a second fryer, potentially. Right? Because if we back this bit up, we never actually need... Yeah. This doesn't break any of the other routing. And we put in a second fryer. We can fry the two objects in parallel, right? If we just... The first thing that we're Oh, right. Yeah, this needs to... Sorry, that has to be a router. Yeah, we could fry the two objects in parallel using the same timer if we send the first object to the A fryer, because it'll be like cycle 1 is whatever, cycle 2 is whatever is here, other thing is there, cycle 3, they both go into the fryer, so we just need to run a single timer and a single universal eject command. Is that... No, wait, is that a really bad idea? Maybe it doesn't actually help to have a second fryer? Because I'm thinking about the timing logic. We can't have those two items reach the stacker at the same time. So how would I make that work? If they ejected together, like if this is the burger... No, this is the fry. The cup is already there. Then that stack will happen. The burger will hit the stacker, and that's fine because the burger goes first on the stacker, and then the cheese can show up. No, this is totally good, and frying the two things simultaneously instead of sequentially is going to save us cycles. Okay, I do like that. I do like that. So, how do we make the rest of this happen? Okay, let's talk about actual logic now. We have some routing that makes sense. There is, as always, the question of whether we will have enough space on the rack to run the logic side of the solution as designed. Every one of these solutions is in two pieces, the logic and the physical routing, and you can move responsibility between the two, but you have a limited... I really like this game. I think this, honestly, this is one of Zachtronics' best designs. It's so wild that it's like in a thing where it's 1/8 of the package, and this is cool as hell. Okay, so first things first. What are we doing immediately? What can we do right away? So I think we do want to run a sequencer. Let me grab a multi-mixer, though, for the start command, because I think there's a bunch of stuff that we can do immediately. Like, for example, we can run cup right away. Although, maybe I do want to run that off a sequencer, just because I'm thinking ahead to the fact that we have to dispense a second cup at some point. And if I run the cup command out of a sequencer, then I don't necessarily need to place a multi-mixer for that. We may be able to save ourselves a little bit of rack space, and you'll notice this is a thing I've become very concerned about. Okay, let's clear this sequencer at the very least. A is in fact going to be cup. Dispense cup quickly. And then it's dispense cup, and then B doesn't eject immediately. Yeah. We also want to put out a bun right away. So A for A cup, B for bun. We do want to... We want a meat first. No, we want a potato first. Well, we want potato or onion, whichever one is actually called for. And we want to run that from... We want to run that directly from these commands. Yeah, like this can absolutely just be like this, right? Because we don't need to spawn another one later in the process. So, okay. On the second cycle is when we put the meat out. So, actually, that's... C is spawn meat. And actually, C is a multi-command, because C is... Oh, sorry. I started recording up, but I didn't turn my desk fan off. It's real hot in here, so apologies. I definitely was using the desk fan while rotating stuff, because, gosh, it's warm. Okay, so C is dispense meat, but it's also reroute... This is a fryer. I need the B router. It is also reroute this thing to the right. Yeah, okay. We may as well clump those together. Okay, cool. So... All right, So yeah, that's definitely going to get where it's going before anything else gets in the way. Okay. So we need the B sorter to eject the cup and then set itself up for the next thing. So I think what I want to do here is we want to have a counter. How do I... So it's like... Let me get this stuff out of here. We want the counter to be 0. All right. On sense, if 0, increment by 2, because what it's doing is it's preparing for the soda. Or no, 1, because it's preparing for the soda, but also it is... Shoot, how do we do this? Because it's also going to be kick it through, right? So... Yeah, and then that just sits on the thing. So now this is at +1. But we're also going to need sense to, no matter what, we need sense to run this decrement command. So we need this to be a +2 so that the thing ends up at +1 so that when the next cup comes through, it'll just eject it. Oh no, but the lid also comes out of this machine. So we can't use this logic to decide how long to hold the thing. I was going to also wire sense to the drink dispensers, but we actually need something else to do the logic on what stays on the thing. So yeah, never mind any of this. I think I have to do a call from here that ejects that stuff. Okay, so since we have to wire up some stuff on start anyway, I think we can go ahead and run the cup out of here. And then this can just be a through command, right? Because that'll time correctly. Yeah. Okay. So does it make sense to run, like we should just run the bun off of the start command, right? Okay. So A sends this through. C is going to spawn, or rather B is going to spawn the meat. And since we're spawning the fried thing on the first cycle, can't we just do this here? Yeah. Okay, cool. What else needs to happen right away? Well, sorry, hold on. This command needs to be multi-mixed because we are going to have to fire the cup command again at some later point. That's right. That's why I had it in the sequencer. But I think we probably are going to end up wanting to use this sequencer for too many things. So we can run the double eject command on the fryers and just not do any logic inside the fryers themselves. Right, I like that because it's really lazy. So they end up in there. Did I? Oh, these are, yeah, those are emit commands. Sorry, I didn't account for the time it was going to take stuff to travel to the fryer. Okay, cool. And then we can handle the cheese command from here as well. Yeah, fairly easily. And there's room for a scanner. Does it make sense to use a scanner to figure out whether or not to put out cheese? Is that a thing I can handle in a different way? Well, we're going to need to know which drink to put out as well, and that's a thing that happens a little bit later. So I think actually a scanner is going to be important. We're going to use it like 3 times. It's going to matter. Okay, so I guess the part of the question is, do we just run another? Does the D command here start a new sequencer? Let's maybe drop some of this stuff down below the sequencer, just get it out of the way. Okay. So yeah, let's say that we start another sequencer. When is the first cycle that we would actually want to use the new sequencer? We need to emit cheese at some point here. Some point shortly after, maybe even on the same... Does it make sense to put the cheese out on the same cycle as that? So like... this runs to here, and if the scanner says there's supposed to be cheese, then do cheese. Because what we want is for it to, like... We want it to hit right after the... Oh, ha! Yeah, this also needs to change the routing... this needs to hit left on that sorter. And that could really happen at any point, but here we have an open cycle on a command here. So that could even come out one sooner if we wanted it to, but it doesn't have to. And then we do want to throw the... We want to fire the through on this at some point. It's not really important when it happens. It can be any time after this. Okay. So we also need to have... We would like to have already dispensed the drink. Like, stuff should be coming through, right? So let's... Somewhere around... Okay, if we emit the cheese a little bit sooner, it probably doesn't matter. Well, it matters because we need the cheese to go through before the drink can go through. So what I'm kind of thinking is... Let's emit the cheese here instead. Where's the cheese command even? I'm losing stuff. Ah, there it is. Okay. So... It's this... All right, we're not running that from there. We are instead running it from a new multi-mixer. And what this multi-mixer does, in addition to cheese, is it runs the start command on another sequencer. Okay, is there anything else that I want to do on cycle C? I probably want to emit the... do I want to have emitted the cup already? Let's see. The second cup could come out as soon as, like, here. So, yeah, actually, I think I do want to run... Let's go ahead and run dispense cup. Okay. So, here we have... So this is the first cycle that thing's active. We could have run that cup out one cycle earlier. I'm not convinced it'll matter. Oh, right. The cheese is now, the thing's not getting swapped in time. This could be run from B's a multi-mixer. This could be run from here, and it would work just as well. Yeah, cool. Okay. So I think it's the second cycle of this thing. We're going to select a drink, which unfortunately is actually kind of a pain in the ass. All right, B runs to both of these, and they are enabled by whichever drink is actually on the order. If orange, do orange. If purple, do purple. And we do that twice. Then C. Then why is that B? Okay. Then B is fire the through on that. That's a thing that we need a multi-mixer for. Don't know why I didn't think that was going to be the case. Yep, just go ahead and boot that right through. So B also connects to here. At the same time, I guess we can make this. Okay, B does that. B also has it emit the lid. And then... No, we do want those to be separate, don't we? Yeah. Sorry. We want C to be emit the lid because we want to just run the kick through again on the next cycle. And we don't want it to spawn a second lid. That would actually be very bad for us. And then at some point we have to fire a through on this. And at some point we have to fire the eject on that. So those are the two tasks that we have left. One of them can just run off of here. One of them honestly can probably run off of here. Like the C multi-mixer has an open space again. When does what is the state of the machine when the C command fires? It would not be good to do that this early. Okay, so yeah, we do need to use the D command here. Well, what about when we fire? B's running to a multi-mixer, but B is also doing multiple things. Let me make sure my timing on this is solid. The drink, I mean. Could I move those up one? No, that is the earliest that can happen. Okay, they'll get stacked, that'll get run through, cool. So... I mean, we could just multi-mix it. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. We just make C a multi-mix command that puts out the lid and also kicks the burger bun through. And then we can use the D cycle on this thing to just spit out the whole food. And then we're done. That's an actual solution, I think. Eject. So the question is just, when do we mark this? And this is a thing that shouldn't actually change at all, right? The only thing that changes about the stuff going into the machine is... Oh, shoot. I wasn't thinking about this. When we don't have cheese, this burger has to be conditionally kicked out of the thing without a stack command occurring. That is potentially a problem. Okay, so let me just mark this. Okay, so I think at this point, this order will just run correctly, right? And in fact, given the way the logic is built, every single order that has cheese in it should run correctly. However, obviously that's a problem. So, I'm going to move this down here because we're going to have to multi-mix. Whatever the solution is, it's going to involve multi-mixing the eject command on this, on the, not this one. Sorry, that's incorrect. It's going to involve multi-mixing the stack command on the other one. Which means that actually, let me delete this. Bring this back up here. Move you over. Move you over. Put the multi-mixer right there. So every time you stack, you eject. However, there is also another situation in which you must eject, and we have to figure out how to make that run. The problem is that other situation involves a logic check, right? I need one more space. Shit. Okay, here we go. Here's a space. We don't need this. Yeah, that can just run straight through. So what I will do is I will move this and this and this and this. I need one more enable multi-mixer. And the question is just, when do we run that command, right? So right now, is it when this fires? Yes, I think so. No, it's totally not. Oh, that's really frustrating. That's almost good. I can introduce a dead cycle. Because, like, we want this to have a chance to stack. If C and B both have multi-mixers that already have space in them. But if I run this command out of either of them, the cheese doesn't get out quite fast enough. Could I run the cheese command one cycle earlier? Well, would it matter? Hold on. Let me, before I bother answering that question. No, it would not matter. They're already as tightly timed as they can be. So I think I do just have to introduce a dead cycle. The drink's the last thing to go on the tray already, right? Yes, that actually does add an entire cycle to the machine if I do that. But it has to be around here. That's really a huge bummer. We are so close to this being good. Okay. So where does the cheese, that's the wrong button. Shift is what I wanted. The cheese gets outputted by this command, which is run from D. We couldn't do it any earlier because it would break the machine. Yeah, and if I insert a dead cycle here, I do have to move the D eject command down. Man. Wait, what happens if I run the emit on this cycle? That doesn't work, right? I think this will cause the lid to land on sorter B just after the sorter ejects it. Just after the sorter runs its eject. Yep, that is totally how that works. Right, so this, as an eject on the stacker, an emergency eject on the stacker, does solve the problem, but we've slowed the whole machine down by one cycle, and so this eject command is going to miss. I'm going to have to pull that one cycle later as well. Yep. But this machine will just run, I think. So let's take it down to 1 and C. Something breaks entirely. That's not what I was expecting. Is Is the problem the cheese? Does the cheese version of that same order actually run through? Yes, the problem is the cheese. Okay, let's work it out. So it's breaking in a way that I'm a little surprised by. Why is... Yeah, like no cheese is... Or no... This machine's not getting run. Why is this machine not getting run? Oh, because the start command is wired to the... Oh gosh, yeah, that'd do it. Why is this where that's... We have the start command running on D. It should be running on C. Which actually fixes... It moves our dead cycle to before this thing is run, so we can... Yeah, so we can do this way. Alright, now I think this should run. Yeah, this machine was only starting if there was cheese in the order, which obviously is problematic. Oh, stuff is still broken. What is going on here? Okay, so now we get the command that starts this. Cool. So, dispense drink, through, dispense lid. Oh, I didn't... There's your problem. I think I hadn't moved the lid back up from the position we were using it to test the function of that machine. So is this timing now as tight as it can be? Let me run, I'm gonna run part of this in step mode. Okay, so the burger's in. We could hit eject at any moment now. I guess as long as it ejects before the drink gets there, it doesn't actually change anything. There's one more thing I do want to see, though. So that didn't look to me. I'm gonna watch one more time because I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though I said there's one more thing I want to see, and then I immediately started hitting play. I got distracted before the drink got dispensed. Okay, so this is kind of what I was wondering. It looks to me like we can do this now. But let's see if that breaks anything else about the timing. Because we moved the start command for this machine one cycle later. Okay. Does it also run order 4? Because now or order 5. Because now we have adjusted some of the timings. I want to make sure that the cheese actually gets to go on the burger, that we're not kicking the burger. No, that breaks that. Okay. So I do have to reinsert the dead cycle, which then pushes us back down here, because otherwise the eject command on the burger gets called before the cheese even reaches it. Am I sure that's a problem? Probably. It probably can't stack the cheese on... Oh. You know what? It's fine. I don't even care. Because if we make it so that even if it is the case that we could just send the burger through and send the cheese through and then have the stacker here take care of it, then we're talking about this machine performing a variable number of stacks depending on the specifics of the order, which means we'd have to introduce more logic, which we cannot fucking do. So we're good. I have a whole... Actually, I do have a space here. there's just an enable that I didn't end up using. So wait, if this is true, can I use this to get my... Can I use this to get my cycle back? What if we do run this like that? And we say... I'm running the eject from C, right? Yeah. It's just only eject only perform the eject if plain. That should work now, right? Because now we've gotten our cycle back. And the burger won't get kicked out because, yeah. Okay. I presume that's why I put that there. Wait. I should probably actually wire this to the eject command so that the thing works. Okay, I think we're good now. I'm gonna hit play and let's see. This is a wild solution, I feel like. Is there a way to get that sped up, I wonder? Hold on. Sorry, I know, like, tiny optimizations, whatever. But, like... that eject... Oh, right. The problem is that I moved this stuff back up, but I didn't move the eject command back up. All that work, and I wasn't even going to claim my cycle. I was just going to leave it. Okay. I'm pretty sure... that's the winner. I'm pretty sure that's the fastest that this design works. I could be spawning that drink earlier, couldn't I? Maybe. The thing is, the spawning of the drink at the actual dispensing, or the spawning of the cup and the actual dispensing of the liquid are spread across a couple of different commands. So I wonder if I could I rearrange this stuff without breaking anything? I would have to fiddle with the logic, right? Because, like, it's pretty important that C command runs exactly when it runs because it's the thing that's ejecting the food from the fryers. So if we did run that any earlier, it would like change the entire machine. I'm fine with it for now. We're gonna leave it like it is for now. I will play with it potentially off camera. And I think after this, it looks like there's only one more puzzle, right? We've almost completed this mode. I mean, that's pretty good. Somebody did do it faster. Not a lot of somebodies, but some buddies did do it faster. Get Me Out of Here gives it 4 stars. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. The notion that the fast food potato side is a lot of little skinny things like a bag of pencils is widespread but wrong. Kudos to the historians on this one. I have to say, I do like a steak fry. I don't, you know, listen, the outside part of a French fry is fine. The inside part of a French fry is potato still, and potatoes, like, pretty good, in my opinion. So I don't know. I might like the one massive fry. I'd be interested in trying that. It's like a candy bar of potato. Glitter Death gives it 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Totally got the wrong order, but I think that was on purpose, like, to be true to the times on the experience. So all in all, it was a good time. I wonder if they would do that. If the food court people would instruct the workers to bungle the orders some percentage of the time. Borneo Jam, 3 stars. A mere 3 stars. We decided to go here ironically, but then we ate the food. So, here's the thing. You cannot do a thing ironically without doing the thing. It's right there in the English, in the phrase, do a thing ironically. So, you know, you better be sure that you're comfortable doing the thing. Anyway, return to food court. As for Zachary McGand himself, someone told me he became a math teacher over there. This is, I believe, the reason that Zachtronics was originally closing down was because Zach Barth got a teaching job. And he was like, I actually really want to teach, so I'm going to go do that. And later, everyone. But I believe that the teaching job didn't happen. Or like he did do it, but then he left quickly or something. So yeah, I'm really curious to know what happened there. So, if you ever find yourself in the North Yorkshire town of Harrogate, you might meet someone at the local high school with a hidden past as a creator of weird computer games during the heyday of the Sawayama. I never talked to him after that one time I met him, so I have no idea if he's happy now or what. It probably feels like a world away, a different life. At least, it feels that way to me. People come and go, impermanence in all things, etc., etc. This is kind of like a weird thing to have to write about, like a parody version of your own future. Right? Like this is probably a really interesting experience looking forward and thinking, yeah, will I be happy? I don't know. Also, is there one more? There is not one more log entry for 20th Century Food Court. That's really interesting. I thought for sure we would get the last entry when we did the last puzzle. Well, let's have a quick look at this. Sushi, yeah. Though it may be hard to believe today, fish were once so plentiful they were harvested by the boatload. Harken back to those glory days with sushi featuring a carefully bioengineered recreation of genuine tuna, salmon, and more. We're not going to run this puzzle, but let's have a look at it. Nope, not that. Sorry, this. Okay, so it is just 6 different orders this time. We don't have to do a lot of fancy routing. So stack the fillings on the nori. Then you got to roll it. Then you got to slice it. That makes sense. So it's rice. It might even be rice twice onto the thing. Then fillings, then cut, stack it on the plate, stack nigiri on a plate, stack sashimi in a bowl is the difference that I'm not familiar with. And then obviously the soup also. So if it's maki, you got to roll it and cut it. If it's nigiri or sashimi, you just stack it and then plate it or bowl it. So these are actually, these are significantly different orders. It's not one of these things where we have to figure out how to route a bunch of stuff around because we might do X, Y, or Z at 3 different steps. But it is 3 significantly different kinds of food that we're making. So that's interesting. Okay, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting problem we will solve next time. I think we are well and truly out of time for today. So, thank you all so much for watching. I have had such a good time with 20th Century Food Court, and I'm going to be a little sad when it's over. I'll be honest with you. Now, granted, I am getting a little ahead of myself, assuming I'll be able to solve the sushi problem in one day. But I guess when you come back next time tomorrow, we will just see about that. And we'll see you then.